Hey everyone, so I thought I would try this again because I've attempted making this video a few times. The thing is that, okay, so what I'm going to try to do in this video is that I'm going to combine a few things because it's been different topics that I've been trying to talk, basically trying to make videos out of, and every time I do it, I don't like the way it comes out. So that's why I haven't uploaded things. Well, that, and besides the fact that I've been kind of busy. But the times that I've had time to do things, I do it, and then I don't like the way it comes out. And I don't want to put anything out there that I don't like the way it comes out. So I had somebody ask me in a comment section, I don't know, maybe about a week ago already. It's been a while. They asked me about that whole Dani Leigh situation, and this is kind of gonna be something tied also. Basically what happened to her, it's gonna be also stuff that's happened to me online that I'm gonna kind of tie into this whole video. Not just online, just even in real life. And it's just this whole, identity type politics when it comes to Latin people, right? So everybody was all pissed off at that girl, Dani Leigh, for making that Yellow Bone song. People said that she was taking shots. I heard the clip. It sounded awful. I really don't know if there's anybody who actually likes the song. I haven't heard one person say that they like the song. When I first heard it, I thought that clip, I was like, is this even serious? I thought it was a skit of some sort. It didn't sound real. It didn't even look real. And what I found confusing about it was, while on the one hand she's praising being quote unquote yellow bone and classifying herself as a yellow bone, she's simultaneously wearing a very dark tan with a blonde wig. And I found that really weird. I didn't understand that. Wouldn't you just stay your skin tone if you're trying to pass as quote unquote yellow bone, right? Now the whole thing with her passing as yellow bone, first of all, in my opinion, I'll just get this part out there. Do I personally look at her and think that she's black? No, I don't. Only other Latin people are going to understand what I'm about to say. To me, she looks Dominican. And she's a very pretty girl, but I could tell she's Dominican. Now, I know that that's not a good enough answer for a lot of people. Too freaking bad. That's why I say only Latin people might understand that when I say that. A lot of Dominicans have a certain look, and she has that look. She's a very pretty girl. People took it as she was taking shots at the baby's baby mom. It just sounded funny the way I said that. I didn't take it that way. I don't know that, but I also don't know the history between her and that kid's mom. I really don't know these people. I don't pay attention to this music. I look at the guy that basically, in the end, it just sounds like everybody's more upset because she's with this guy. And it sounds like a lot of girls like this guy, the baby guy. I look at him, I don't see it. I don't find him to be a cute kid. I don't see it. His baby's mom is, to me, equally as pretty as Dani Leigh is, the girl that he's with. She's darker skinned, and people took the song as if she was attacking darker skinned people or basically attacking that woman. I didn't get that from the song. Again, I don't know their history. To me, it sounds like this Dani Leigh girl is just she's very into, identifying with black culture, black American culture. So I'm assuming that maybe people have told her this is the part where, to a degree, I understand where she's coming from. And she's also young. So I try tiny bit, I try to give the benefit of the doubt, right? So on the one hand, when it comes to her identifying with that, I don't agree with it. But I could see why, if she's so heavily indoctrinated into black culture, she's probably had people tell her that she could pass as high yellow. I've had that told to me 2 times in my life, a very long time ago. And when I was told that, I was in my teens maybe, or maybe early 20s. It's a very long time ago. And, I didn't take it as anything, but I also didn't run with it either and call myself that either, if that makes sense. Now, again, it wasn't a lot of people that told me this. Mixed people who are genetically mixed race, we get told a lot of different things. My whole life, I've had people question what I am my entire life. So I've had people think I was from different parts of Latin America. When I was in New York City, I had a lot of people speak to me in Arabic because they just thought off the bat that I was Arabic. I've had people from different European countries speak to me, like some people in Italian. Some people, I've had people speak to me in Polish. I've had people tell me I look Croatian. I've had people tell me I look like I'm from Bangladesh. I've had so many different things told to me by different people. And these are like different groups of, different races, different groups of people. So maybe what happened to her is that she grew up in that culture. She's an attractive girl. She probably had a lot of attention from, black guys, and who knows if maybe even black American women kind of were like very accepting of her. So maybe they called her that. Maybe they called her yellow bone. I don't know. I don't know this girl's personal life. Does this mean I necessarily excuse her? I don't know. It sounds like she basically said that this whole song was supposed to be for the baby, right? Which I found very strange. I don't know who would get turned on by something like that. It sounded bad. Who knows? I don't understand. But she said that it was supposed to be for him, and it turns out that somehow I don't know if it got leaked or she let it out, he let it out. I don't know who let it out. That's the part I'm kind of confused about. So in my opinion, if there was an apology to be made by her, she should have just said, I'm sorry that this went out into the public. It wasn't supposed to. It was supposed to be something private for, the guy that I'm with, for the baby, and that's it. And she should have left it at that. So if there was an apology, that's what it should have been for. It shouldn't have been for anybody else, because she didn't say in the lyrics anything offensive to any other group. Okay? But this is also why, on the other hand, a lot of Latin people have been telling Black Americans for a very long time, fine, they'll tell us, we're black, you guys are black. Well, I know that they're not referring to all of us, right? And they'll keep saying that and keep saying that. And for the longest time, Latin people have always said, please just let us identify the way we choose, right? So on the one hand, when some people, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans especially, get this a lot, when they identify with just their nationality or their parents' nationality, people get all up in arms. But then, so they'll tell them, what do you mean you're this? No, you're black. So they get people constantly telling them that. And then, when they start to accept it themselves, then they're going to have a bunch of people saying, what? No, you're not. You're not black. What are you talking about? You're Dominican. It's like, wow. So this is why for the longest time, a lot of Latin people just let Latin people identify how they want to, right? Now we can get into the whole how a lot of Latin people just identify as white, straight up white. That's a whole other argument, which is very true. It's very true that a lot of Latin people do identify with that category more than any other one. Even the Afro-Latinos, a lot of them have a history of identifying as white too, but I'm not going to get into that in this video. So, I can kind of understand she's on the younger side. Maybe that's what happened to her. Maybe she was living in an environment where people were calling her that and saying she's yellow bone because she's so, she associates so much with black culture. I mean, but I just think the whole thing is incredibly dumb. I think it's really stupid. I've gotten into this before, and I'll touch on this again in this video, because again, I don't like going into these type of topics on my channel like that. This is not a spiritual channel. But to me, look, we had her say this a few months back. It was Fat Joe. Then not that long ago, it was J-Lo calling herself Negrita in a song. And for the longest time, very recently, actually not the longest time, excuse me. So very recently, you've been hearing more whiter Latin people calling themselves black. And it tends to get everybody so upset. This is what even makes me, and I said this a long time ago, that I genuinely believe that these people are doing this to get a rise out of people, to get their energy. The music industry is on some other, this is why I don't like getting into this, because people are going to get oh God, and get all upset. But it's the truth. The music industry is on some very, evil, satanic stuff. And sometimes I feel like these artists do things to bring out anger in a lot of people to get these people's energy. And it tends to be people that aren't as relevant as they once were that are doing this lately, if you haven't noticed. So I do find that to be very interesting, right? Now, of course, on a surface level, it's going to be, oh, no, they're just identifying with their African ancestry. Fair enough, but as you can see, even with them doing that, that's also considered wrong, right? And then if they don't do it, on the other hand, then that's also wrong. So, it does put a lot of Latin people kind of in this limbo that they don't even know how to approach whatever, African ancestry they have, right? So on the one hand, they want to uphold it. And then when they do uphold it, they get bashed for upholding it. But I genuinely think with these artists, it's more to it than that. And I say that because especially your J-Lo's and your Fat Joe's, these people have been out for like almost, Fat Joe's got to be over 30 years already. And J-Lo, it's probably close to 30 years she's been out already. So these people aren't new in the game. They know what they're doing. And I think that that's why they're doing it. That's just my opinion, right? So, that's how I'm going to go into that. Now, it's a shame because on the one hand, I feel for this girl. And then on the other hand, I'm like, you see, this is why, even me growing up where I did, and I believe that I definitely grew. I don't know this girl, Dani Leigh. I don't know her life, but I can almost guarantee that my life was way more difficult than hers was. Okay, just going by her family pictures or whatever, I was like, yeah, no, this girl doesn't come from an impoverished background. This girl seems to come from a decent background. Her parents seem to probably do pretty well for themselves and for her. And she probably grew up in a decent enough environment. So that's why I kind of get a little confused with it, because I'm like, well, did she really grow up around? I really don't know her life story. So if somebody knows her life story, you can tell me in the comments if she did in fact grow up around Black Americans or if she didn't. Because I feel like there's a certain thing because I did. I did grow up around mostly Black Americans and Latin people in my neighborhood. But I've said this before. My family, on the other hand, always lived in white neighborhoods. The rest of my family, they're all homeowners. They all live in the suburbs. A lot of them married, white people. So I also know that perspective too. That's why I think that I come with a very different, my experiences may be a lot more different because I've heard the honesty on both sides, on all sides, actually. That's why I can kind of understand, certain Latin people's perspectives on certain things, because I do know, what comes out of the mouths of these groups of people. But I do think that she's kind of the result of something that I've always said, which is what white and Black Americans tend to do with Latin people. They'll, they push us out and they pull us into whiteness or Blackness when it suits them. And in this case, that's exactly what's happening to this Dani Leigh girl. So maybe in her real life, she was always kind of accepted as this quote unquote, yellow bone or light skinned Black girl. And then, she kind of says that out and, and she says something and then it comes out into the public and then it's like, what? No, you're not. Now, I heard that she made some comments to people and she was like, people make songs about different skin tones and whatnot, and why is it such a problem that she made a song about skin tone? Now, with that, I will agree. First and foremost, when it comes to any songs about skin tone, I find them all cringe. To me, all of these songs that are related to skin tone, India Irie had one back in the day, a few people. Remember that artist Tweet? She kind of had a song like that. All these other artists, I think Jill Scott had stuff like that. And to me, these songs always came across as, you're not that happy with your skin, so you're trying to convince somebody else to be happy with it. And I'm saying that from a perspective of someone who's probably considered by most Black people non-Black. And that's the reason why I say that, because that's how a lot of those songs sound to the rest to the rest of us. It's like, wait, you're not happy with it, and you're trying to convince other people to be happy with it. So you're glorifying it, right? Now, other people are gonna take it as pride. Fine. So I'm gonna look at it like this: if it's gonna be taken as pride, then to a degree, that girl Dani Leigh is right when she wants to sing about her own skin tone and glorifying her skin tone. That shouldn't be a problem. Okay. So it shouldn't be a problem. But the funny thing is, a lot of people are saying that she sounded very insecure in that song. But you see what I mean? To a degree, I can understand that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, all of those songs, to me, that sounds like there's an insecurity there. So it's funny how it's an insecurity if she does it, but it's not an insecurity when these other women do it. It's actually an insecurity when all these women do it, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Now, when it comes to this whole, case of whiteness and blackness and Latin people and where we stand, genuinely, like how people want to identify how they choose to. For the longest time, I always said that, to me, Latin people have a degree of mental illness when it comes to how we racially identify. And that's because we're, especially when it comes to America, I'm really speaking in regards to Americanized Latin people. That's because we live in a culture that's so white or black identified. And if you don't choose one side, then there's something wrong with you. But the problem with our people, with Latin people, is that we do that to each other. Like, we force people to be in one side or the other. And it's like, but then when you have people of the other groups, of those dominant groups, of those white groups or those black groups that are like, no, you don't belong here, then what does that mean for that Latin person? Right? This is why I always say that Latin people should define themselves as being Latin. I've said that for the longest time. I said that when I first started my channel. Where it comes to unity and all that other stuff that I used to believe at one time, I don't believe that anymore. As far as Latin unity is concerned, I don't agree with that anymore. I don't think that's ever going to happen. Maybe I'll do a video on that on another time. I'm not going to get into that in this video. I just don't think it's going to happen. But as far as like, how we identify or whatever, deep down, like, I don't care. I genuinely can care less how, Latin people identify. I think it would benefit us as a group if we classified Latino as a race. Even though it's not a race, I would say that we classify it as a race because most of us are generationally mixed race people. So that's why I say that we classify it as a race, and it might benefit us. I just say to try it. Now, there's people that, no, it's not going to happen. No, because I know this and I know this history and it's not going to do it. Like, look, shut the hell up. Let us try something. But I don't think that's going to happen either. And I say that because I think that in the scheme of it all, I think when it comes to Latin people, whether they can identify with either white or black, I think that they like the benefits of being able to identify with white or black. So I think that because of that, that's going to be one of the reasons why that's never going to happen. Because these people that are Afro-Latinos, and the ones that aren't even Afro-Latinos, they're just heavily mixed, very similar to me, and they want to identify with being black, that benefits them. It benefits some of them. It's not going to benefit the Dani Leighs. It's usually going to benefit the guys, though, who tend to identify in that way, because guys get way more acceptance when it comes to claiming blackness. Even if they're very fair-skinned or very white Latinos, they tend to get way more of a pass with that than the women do. And I've noticed that. You could even look at the whole Fat Joe situation in comparison to when Jennifer Lopez said it in a song. People weren't as up in arms when Fat Joe said Latinos are black, as opposed to when Jennifer Lopez called herself black in a song. So it was a very different extreme reaction. Very different. And if people want to deny that, then they're going to deny it. Why? Of course, to benefit themselves and to benefit what's going to, they're just going to go to the side that benefits them, right? So I think because of that, I don't think it's ever going to change. And this also goes out to the Latin people who identify as white. It's because them claiming whiteness is going to benefit them within that white group that they want to be a part of. So on both sides, they're benefiting from the groups that they want to benefit from. All right. So I think because of that, this whole thing with, Latin people just calling themselves Latin or referring to themselves as Latino, I doubt that it's ever going to happen. yeah, I doubt it very much. I think that when it comes to us Americanized Latin people, that we just kind of, you know, fell into the game, and that's it. That we're just that's it, you know. But yeah, I think that's about it. I think I kind of touched all of the points that I wanted to. This video is long enough. I just think that the girl Dani Leigh was kind of, I don't know. I also think it's kind of people use this as an excuse to kind of like get at. This is just another way for people to get at Latin women, because, you know, people like to talk about the groups of women that they don't like all the time. But the truth of the matter is that a lot of people just don't like Latin women either. And when Latin women do little things like this, then it gives people more of a reason. You see, this is why we can't trust them. You see, as if. And it's funny, it's like as if most Latin people are going out and, who look like Dani Leigh are going out and identifying as black, when most of us aren't. Most of us whiter Latin people are not whiter or more white passing. And I know people don't like that term, but too damn bad. That people hate when they do that, right? That there's, especially the women, they hate when women, when Latin women do that. But most of us aren't doing that. Most of us, especially now, are saying that we're mixed. And I think saying that you're mixed is fine. I call myself white passing. That doesn't mean that I look at myself in the mirror and say that I see a white woman, because me particularly, when I look at myself, I don't think I look white. I think I can see certain things about me, obviously, like my skin tone, and certain other things about me that I can see what other people might be like, oh, you can pass as Italian, or you can pass as something else. I could see it, but I also see other things in my features that I don't see in white people, especially my cheekbones. And there's certain other things about me that I just don't normally see in, white Anglo people. But if other people see that, then they see it, and I'm not going to be here all day, like, arguing with people about what they see. So if a lot of Latin people want to say that I look white, then you say I look white. It doesn't upset me. But, I think for somebody like a Dani Leigh, if somebody told her that, and somebody told her that she looks white, she'd probably get upset by it. That's just the impression that I get. Even though, again, I don't think she looks white either. But it's what it is. Like I said, people push us out and pull us in when they want to out of convenience. So, and it goes for that type of stuff too. Anyhow, I'm just rambling at this point. I'm going to go for now, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.